Good evening, judges. I'm Lily Carroll, representing Central Middle School's FFA chapter. It's invisible, but yet, it's right in front of our faces. We often hear about it, but we rarely give it much attention. However, when it hits close to home, it's all that consumes our minds. Too often, when we think about someone struggling with mental health, we reference others, but never consider ourselves, as our agricultural industries have historically feared the stigma and shame of these conversations. As I stand here and think about the stress, hardships, and anxiety that our agriculturalists face annually, I cannot help but wonder how many of my family members, friends, and neighbors who make up the approximately 900 farms in Carroll County where I call home struggle with feelings of being overwhelmed, stressed, or maybe even isolated. While we recognize that promoting good mental health as an essential factor for our industries, there are unfortunately very few opportunities and resources available to help those that I just mentioned. Recognizing the importance of this issue, the University of Georgia Extension Service should begin allocating funds and resources to establish a mental health extension specialist position and program in each region of our state. For a moment, think about your loved ones who make up our agricultural industries. As faces and names begin to fill your mind, consider the fact that according to Johns Hopkins University, an estimated 26% of Americans ages 18 or older suffer from a diagnosable mental disorder each year. While this is highly alarming, the numbers for our agricultural industries appear to be even worse, as it is reported that approximately 35% of farmers meet the classification for depression, 58% meet the category for anxiety, 45% report high levels of stress related to their work, and 68% are reported to be more susceptible than the general population to chronic stress. As we think about these concerning statistics and those in our industries that filled our minds moments ago, it is likely that we have loved ones or colleagues who we don't even realize are struggling. This is largely because we do not understand or recognize the warning signs. By establishing this extension service position and program, we can create opportunities that educate agriculturalists on what characteristics or behaviors someone who is struggling with their mental health may exhibit and what to do once they recognize the indicators. For example, this could come in the form of programs that the Extension Specialists offer or informational packets and help guides distributed to county offices. Regardless of what the opportunities are, investing in educating those in our industries will make the difference in proactively combating declining mental health. Additionally, an extension based mental health program could save lives. According to the Centers for Disease Control, the suicide rate for male individuals in agricultural fields is double that of the general population. While it is uncertain what the main stressors are that lead to the devastating decisions for each case, many believe factors such as debt, drought, or market shifts causing uncertainty are leading contributors. Regardless of the reason, it's clear that our current system is not working. By establishing this resource through the Extension Service, individuals can seek help on their own terms, which is important since so many pride themselves on being independent. Whether it is through calling trained support personnel where they can have conversations about what they're experiencing, or the establishment of support groups, diverse opportunities can be offered so that agriculturalists know they aren't alone and can find help. As we begin to consider the significant impacts that this added extension program will offer for countless members of our industries, I recognize that some will not. This is likely due to the preconceived notion that agriculturalists won't utilize a mental health program and its resources. While this is possible, I know that with intentional planning, collaboration with other established organizations, and strategically targeting certain demographics, the foundation of this program will quickly be established through trust and utilization. A great example is that of the Not One More Vet organization, which is committed to transforming the status of mental wellness within the profession so that veterinary professionals can survive and thrive. While it is clear that the program I am promoting would be impactful, some might suggest that those in our industries be directed towards other established mental health and suicide prevention organizations rather than creating one of our own. Although this is an option, it is not one that best serves our colleagues, neighbors, friends, and family members, considering the fact that the National Institute of Mental Health discovered during the pandemic, a time in which support was critically needed, that over 60% of rural Americans live in areas that either have mental health provider shortages or services that are not available at all. With this in mind, shouldn't we ask ourselves, if an established organization isn't accessible, Can it actually address the needs of our communities? It's time to be proactive and create a program that works for our unique needs. As a supporter, I recognize that it will take a tremendous amount of time and resources to effectively adopt such a program that I am promoting. While tough conversations, long hours, and growing pains are likely, I'm confident that the impact will far outweigh any initial struggle as meaningful change is created that will positively elevate the mental health of our industries. Together, we need to support the establishment of a mental health extension specialist program through the University of Georgia Extension Service so that the hidden enemy of declined mental health isn't invisible, but rather a continued conversation to help those most in need. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. There we go. Thank you.
Jacket?
Can I can I do like a test whenever I get in there? Some things are just meant to go together. Jeans and boots, movies and popcorn, needle and thread, goats and yoga. That's right, goats and yoga. Goats are happy, fun-loving creatures who adore humans. Yoga involves fitness and stretches that stimulate mental and physical health. What would be better than to add goats to the exercise? Goat yoga's popularity skyrocketed thanks to Lainey Morris's unique idea of holding a yoga class with baby goats. Research Over the past few years, goat yoga's popularity skyrocketed thanks to Lainey Morris's unique idea of holding a yoga class with baby goats. Over the in 2016, Lainey endured divorce, an incurable disease, and a failing job of 10 years. Despite the many challenges she faced, Lainey remained cheerful and around her goats. One day, a yoga instructor visited Lainey and the animals and asked about mixing goats and yoga. As a result, goat yoga was born. Everyone from cancer patients to people struggling with mental health problems, even perfectly healthy people began attending these classes. With 20 years of marketing experience, Lainey sustained this small business that was managing to become a countrywide sensation. Yoga has gained recognition for its help with health issues like diabetes, heart disease, asthma, and even back pain. Since goat yoga includes the same poses as regular yoga, you get the same physical benefits such as strength and stretching out your muscles. The CDC states that approximately 1 in every 3 American adults suffer from high blood pressure. Researchers have found that the presence of friendly animals can help reduce a person's heart rate and blood pressure. The Arizona Goat Yoga Association states this is because interacting with animals reduces cortisol, the stress hormone, while simultaneously increasing serotonin and dopamine, hormones that trigger happiness. Even though goat yoga isn't a cure for illness, it can give you a good laugh to help cope with the stress of a health issue. One commonly asked question is, do goats like goat yoga? It might be surprising, but the answer is yes. Goats are social animals and most like to interact with people. Researchers have found that goats also enjoy climbing on everything within their reach, whether it's a hay bale or a person's back. Studies have also shown that goats love it when humans smile. If the goat yoga class is making you smile and laugh, it makes the goats happy too. Although there are many pros to goat yoga, there are also some cons. First, focusing is nearly impossible with a bunch of tiny baby goats running around you. So if you're looking for a nice, silent class to organize your thoughts, goat yoga may not be your best option. Second, this won't be the most physically demanding activity since the atmosphere is more lighthearted than your typical intense yoga class. Rather than strengthening your core through balance, you'll be tightening those ab muscles from the giggles. Lastly, goats are living, breathing creatures, so when they have to go, they have to go. If dealing with a little poop gets your goat, pun intended, then go ahead, jump the gate, and pass on this activity. Kidding aside, goat yoga's benefits outweigh any negative sentiments you may have. Goat yoga is not only exercise, but agritourism at its finest. Small farmers can profit from hosting goat yoga events. Goat farmers have a new market for their animals as the goats are needed for the yoga classes. In a 2019 article by the High School Journalism Institute, Lainey Morris, the founder of Goat Yoga, stated that corporate brands like Nike and Google have attended her events, resulting in profits over $100,000 a year. Goat yoga also provides a way for people living in urban areas to connect with nature and agriculture, resulting in a more positive attitude towards farm life. According to FFA, New Horizons magazine, John Jay FFA chapter in Dutchess County, New York, held a goat yoga fundraiser with over 300 participants from various parts of the state, as well as New Jersey. The chapter organized this activity to educate people about farming and felt like it was a successful event. As you can see, goats and yoga really do pair together like peanut butter and jelly. Although opinions may vary, I believe that the benefits and laughter of goat yoga outweigh the negative any day. I say to anyone who is apprehensive to take that yoga mat to the farm, try it. Have an open mind because if it makes you happy, who cares what floats your goat?
34 minutes. That's 2,040 seconds. That's it. That's the time that stands between the rest of your life and no life at all. What if you only had 34 minutes to finish your dreams, accomplish your goals, or let the ones closest to you know how much they are loved? 34 minutes is the average time it takes for rural Americans to travel to the nearest hospital. Researchers have determined that the number of hospital closings and consolidations has limited healthcare availability in some rural areas. This poses a problem for the industry that is responsible for meeting the world's basic human needs and has the highest injury rate. Dice reported that one of the top 9 issues in the agricultural industry is providing health care to rural citizens. The Centers for Disease Control touted that every day 100 agricultural workers suffer an injury that results in lost work time. Additionally, it is reported that a child dies every 3 days, with 33 children being seriously injured every day in an agricultural setting. How could these injuries or deaths be prevented? Of course, incorporating increased safety practices, providing more machinery technical support, or extra people to aid with tasks may decrease the numbers. However, one thing is certain: the need for quality rural healthcare is obvious. Individuals working in the agricultural industry are 8 to 10 times more likely to die on the job than the average United States worker. Due to the decrease of healthcare available to rural citizens, the director of the National Farm Medicine Centers, Dr. Ben Dixon, has envisioned an unlikely partnership that aids in decreased farming accidents. Producers and farm managers have joined forces with rural firefighters and emergency management system personnel to engage in safety education and training designed to help reduce the overall risk of farming injuries and fatalities. This unique program is known as the RF-, or Rural Firefighters Delivering Agricultural Safety and Health, that consists of a 5-part classroom and experiential training. In the training, the two departments work together to plan a response to an emergency before it actually occurs, utilizing aerial photographs and access to the producer's property. The program is focused on building relationships among producers and rural firefighters, oftentimes discussing the agents of injury found on the farm and discussing safety measures. As this program has been in effect for 5 years and has experienced success, Dr. Ben Dixon and his research team hope to include grain bin rescues, grain entrapment, and grain handling equipment entanglement safety for future training programs. Upon a Google search of farming accidents, more than 4.6 million results populated, and among those, articles of grain bin and machinery accidents and explosions saturated the findings. With so many accidents in the agricultural industry, why is there a decrease in rural health care? Although rural hospitals are the cornerstones of their communities, financial hardships have made over 121 rural hospitals close their doors since 2010. It has been noted that rural hospital closures are correlated with higher mortality rates and can negatively affect per capita income and unemployment. Luckily, the American Hospital Association is working diligently to combat rural hospital closures and has established the Future of Rural Healthcare Task Force to develop sustainable finances and deliver care in rural settings. In 34 minutes, I can watch an episode of Friends, feed my goats, travel to the nearest mall, or even share a meal with my family at Waffle House. In 34 minutes, someone who was involved in an agricultural accident could take their last breath on the way to the nearest hospital. With entities like the RF- and Rural Healthcare Task Force, producers are given more of a chance to survive near fatal injuries in the industry that yields the most accidents. But what can we do about it? We can support our local farmers and build relationships with both those public servants and our local producers. And we can offer to lend a helping hand. But it is all of our responsibility to ensure the safety of those who grow the food that feeds the world. What does 34 minutes mean to you? What can you do in 34 minutes?
One day, I was finishing my lunch at school. We were seconds before returning to class when my teacher came to my table. Was I in trouble? I took a deep breath and looked up. She smiled and asked, "Are you going to eat that apple? If not, my horses sure would like it." I gladly handed her the apple, and I told her I hoped her horses enjoyed it. But that got me thinking, what does happen to all the food that goes uneaten on our plates? What about the food on farms? What about the food in restaurants? Does it all just go in the landfill? That apple was a fresh, healthy snack that I, along with many of my other friends, would just toss in the trash in a rush to get to our next class. Can't we do better than that? Together, we can leave no food left behind as we imagine a better future with reduced waste. Hello, my name is Haley Parsons, and I am an 8th grade FFA member from Malcolm Bridge Middle School. And today, I want to share with you some practices that can truly turn one person's trash into another person's treasure as we work to reduce food waste. Now, let's talk about some food waste facts. As Americans, we contribute to this problem every day. In fact, many articles written about this issue state that Americans buy food knowing that it will likely go uneaten. According to the United States Department of Agriculture, about 133 billion pounds of food is wasted each year, and it's the largest occupier of our landfills. This is a staggering 30 to 40% of the food supply and accounts for a loss of over $161 billion. This waste accounts for an average cost of $370 per person annually. In fact, there is a direct correlation between income and food waste. Did you know that a 1% increase in income results in a 1.3% increase in food waste? What can we do to eliminate or reduce waste in our communities? At home, we can follow the guidelines of the USDA and work to reduce, reuse, and recycle. We reduce by planning our meals, we reuse by consuming our leftovers, and we recycle by composting. Be creative with the stem of your broccoli. Consider using in soups. Or the next time you're at the grocery store, really reach for those fruits, vegetables, and meats that are close to their expiration date and take advantage of the discount. With planning, you can have a delicious meal and save money. Now, let's talk about let's talk about how this problem affects our businesses. Did you know that for every $1,000 in revenue generated in grocery stores, that 10 pounds of food is wasted? To address this concern, our grocers are donating and recycling More than 40% of the food that would otherwise go to support needy families is converted into animal feed, compost, or biofuel. For our food manufacturers, the numbers are even higher. Annually, manufacturers report 7.1 billion pounds of food waste. However, they are addressing the problem as a part of the Food Waste Reduction Alliance and are recycling 93.4% of this waste and donating 106 million pounds of food that cannot be sold to those in need. During the pandemic, a number of charities focused on hunger were launched. Leaders of these nonprofits can benefit from a strong partnership with food manufacturers and grocers. This alliance is working proactively to reduce food waste by increasing the amount of food donated and avoiding the landfill by sending all the waste to be used for energy and compost. Federal agencies are also engaged in this concern. In October 2018, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, and the United States Department of Agriculture signed a formal agreement stating its commitment to increase collaboration and coordination regarding food loss. This effort will to educate and engage the food manufacturing, retail, restaurant, and food service industries, inform stakeholders of the food reduction programs, and increase awareness on further solutions. Furthermore, the Agriculture Innovation Agenda of the United States Department of Agriculture is working hard to increase their efforts by 50% in the United States by the year 2030 from the 2010 baseline. Lowering food waste can lead to many benefits, and we all can work together to make this change. Today, you learned about the problem that exists in our food waste and what we can do to stop it. Reducing or eliminating food waste will benefit our communities, economy, and, of course, the environment. Global food production, when we talk about increasing global food production, wow, that means that it's going to global food production will increase to 50% in the United States by the year 2030 from the 2010 baseline. Lowering food waste can lead to many benefits, and we all can work together to make this change. Today you learned about the problem that exists in our food waste and what we can do to stop it. The next time you're at the grocery store, make sure you make a list of the things that you only need for that week. And when you're putting away those groceries, make sure they're organized in a way that nothing gets overlooked in your pantry or refrigerator. Every journey begins with a few steps. Take a few steps with me as we leave no food left behind. Thank you.